Hi everyone, good morning. This is Gopi Mattel from Easy Commission and Sellerstone welcoming you to our webinar today. Sellerstone specializes in sales commission applications. We've been in business since 2000. We provide multiple sales commission products. Easy Commission is one of them. We partner with various CRM vendors such as Salesforce.com and Intuit for QuickBooks, etc., in providing our solution. Today we'll be reviewing our Easy Commission product. Easy Commission is a online application, variously called cloud-based or SaaS type application. It allows companies to calculate sales commissions for their salespeople. It is targeted at businesses and individuals with fairly straightforward commission plans that are looking for a cost-effective way to administer them. Easy Commission is completely online, and anyone can access their system from the browser. No download of software is necessary. There's no significant setup services. There's a very small amount of initial help. So it's really supposed to be very much a self-serve application with a very small amount of help from us. Sales commission, as many of you know, is pretty complex. Today, we have a lot of different industries, people from different industries attending the webinar: accounting folks, accountants, manufacturing reps, telecom companies, VARs. All of these are attending this session today. And as you can imagine, different industries and even different companies calculate commissions differently. So a VAR would pay commissions a lot of times on profit, whereas a manufacturing company may pay on revenue. Some folks may pay on quantity. Some folks may have quotas. So it could be very dramatically different. So the big challenge is to take some fairly complex things and try to make it simple in a solution. Easy Commission is targeted for the simpler parts of that, and we do have other solutions for the more complex commission plans. So a few things, some of the key features, I want to quickly cover that, and then of course you will see that in detail in the demonstration. In our system, you can essentially have unique commission plans for each and every sales rep that you may have. The rules can be completely different. You can pay commissions as a flat percent or tiered commission rates. You can pay commissions on revenue or quantity, and for some simple cases of profit, you can have commission rates that change by different products or change by different customers. Commissions can be split 3 ways on every deal or invoice or order to their reps. You can give overrides to additional folks like managers. You can also set up draws so that people can be paid a minimum amount and a loan or balance can be maintained. And you can make adjustments to the commission calculations if you have to take back some commissions or provide more. Sales, in addition to the administrator, salespeople can also log in and view their commission statements directly from anywhere using the browser. From a reporting perspective, the key benefit is providing a commission statement for every period for every rep. So it details out exactly why they're getting the check they are getting. That's the key output. But you can also get a summary report for all the reps for a period so that you can turn it over to payroll or accounts payable. There are a number of sales reporting reports that are available. There are a number of commission reports, and these reports can be sorted by different categories. 1099 reports are available, which are basically for people that are not employees, and the reports can be exported to Excel. Some of the more advanced features are we can integrate with QuickBooks, so we can actually import and export QuickBooks data. We can, if you have your QuickBooks file on your machines or in your servers, we can connect to it and get the data and calculate commissions off of that. Intuit offers a solution called Intuit App Center. You can also connect through that but the options available through that are different and a little bit more limited than a direct connection. So those are some things that we can discuss in more detail if you have that requirement. We also can integrate with the Excel files and CSV files. We can bring in transactions, products, customers, etc. using Excel files. We can set up quota-based commissions, so you can set a quota for a person and calculate off of that. We can calculate commissions in different frequencies, monthly versus quarterly. We even have a little bit of CRM, customer relationship management functionality, where because salespeople have access to the system, they can manage leads and opportunities. And we have workflow, the ability to configure the security and dashboards. So those are some of the advanced features in just a minute there. So let's now take a look at the application itself. So give me a minute here. Okay. So this is the Easy Commission application, and you're seeing the dashboard that is available in the system. So we'll go there and show you that. All right. So we'll just go to the home page, and you can see that the application is completely simply laid out. Your process that you would execute is laid out right away. You have navigations available. It's fairly simple to use. Okay. So now let me describe what our process is going to be for the demo. So we're going to essentially act as a commission administrator, and we're going to set up a plan for our company and execute that. So this company sells paper and pencil, and they have a salesperson, Andy. Andy's going to get paid commissions for any sales he makes of paper and pencil, but he's going to get paid different rates for the different products. So it's not a simple flat percent of whatever revenue. It's just a little twist to it, different rates. And Andy may also have a draw of $1,500, so you want to make sure that he gets at least a $1,500 check that month. Okay, so that's a plan we're going to implement. So now we'll go into the application again, and what we will do is we'll sort of review all of the pieces necessary to get to the result, because you're going to be using this application for the first time, many of you, and you may want to know how do all these things connect. So if I'm the commission administrator, one of the first things I'll need to do is to create a commission schedule. A commission schedule is a lot like a payroll schedule. You want to pay commissions at a specific point in time on a periodic basis. Most folks pay commissions monthly, but some may pay quarterly or some may pay weekly and so on. So you can schedule that, and then you can, once you say I'm a monthly in the year, you can create the periods, and the system will specify those periods for you. This is important because when we get sales data, we need to take every sales transaction data and compare to these dates and figure out which period it belongs to. So that if you bring in a future date transaction, we won't right away process it, for example. So this is an important task that has to be set up first. Okay, so that's the calendar. Let's go back to the home page. Of course, we will need to know who we are paying. We call them reps in the system. And we've set up a few here. You see Andy and Brenda and Charlie. There are different roles here that you can see. So let's go take a look at Andy's record. To set up a salesperson, you don't need a lot of information. You really need just a name and their login email ID. We use their email IDs to allow salespeople to log in and also to send any specific information to them. But some of our customers don't want to actually give access to their salespeople. They just want to calculate the commissions and print it out, etc. So then if you don't want to give them access, then don't notify them. That way they won't have access to the system. Okay? But you really need only two fields to set a rep up. And you'll find that sort of a thing throughout. We try to make the amount of information necessary to be a minimal level. Customer data. The entire customer data is actually optional. So if you don't have customer-based commissions, for example, and you don't really need to show the customer data in your reports, they can literally avoid even setting up any customers. But let's take a look at one of the customers here. And by the way, much of this data reps, if you're integrating with QuickBooks, we can bring it in from QuickBooks. So the customer data from QuickBooks can show up here. And this may be the way for you to give access to your salespeople to see all the customer information without giving access to QuickBooks, for example, if you're using QuickBooks. So here's the customer information, address, etc. And you can specify for a customer up to 3 salespeople and the split ratio. So that allows you to say this customer is always assigned to this one or more reps, and they get credit. So anytime a sale comes in or an invoice comes in for that customer, we can inherit these values onto the transaction from the customer. So this is one of the complexities because some folks, that's how they do it. They want to specify the rep by customer. And so they automatically, everything defaults from there. But we have other customers that say, no, every deal can be different. You know, the same customer, we can have different salespeople addressing. So I don't want to set it at the customer level. I want to set it only at the transaction or sale level. You can do that too. So these are various ways of calculating commissions is what makes things complex because we have to provide options for both cases. And you will be like, oh, where do I put this rep in? So that's where the initial assistant helps clarify what makes sense for you guys. Okay? So that's the rep assignment for a customer. We also have products. Again, this can come from Excel or QuickBooks. We set up a couple of products here. We can set cost and, unique commission rates and things like that. Again, this is useful, again, if you're changing commission rates by product and for reporting purposes. If those are not material, you can actually avoid entering this data too. So that's the product information. So we have some of the what we call master information that doesn't change that much, already established now. Now we're going to go and look at some of the other things. So one key thing is to bring in data, transactional data, which you can do using imports. So we have a couple of options, one of which is to bring in data from Excel. So some industries, for example, insurance industry or any kind of telecom resellers, they don't actually necessarily have the sales data in QuickBooks. They get a report from a carrier or provider, and then they have to import it into a commission system to calculate. In those cases, this import facility works very well. So we can provide a template that you can click on and have access to. And you just have to map your data to that template. Here you put in the order number or sales invoice number, customer information, the product, the quantity sales, the reps that were involved, and their splits. You set this up, and then you can just import that data every month or every week, and that gives us the transactions we're looking for. If you were using QuickBooks, and that's where your data comes from, for example, the invoices. So we can set up a QuickBooks import. There's a little bit of setup involved in making that connection because we have to follow Intuit's security standards and use their tools to make that happen. Intuit provides something called a web connector, and we have to connect through that web connector only for security purposes. And so we can import invoices from there, and it'll also import the customers and products and so on. We can choose to import either brand new invoices that are just created for the period, or you can say, I only want to import invoices that were paid in the current period. So you have that choice that you can make, and that data will also be brought in. So that's the facility to bring in data into the system. And now once the data comes in, you'll actually be able to see it in our transaction screen. I'm going to the transaction screen now. Okay. And you can see that here are the transactions, all the invoice. For example, this is an invoice. You would have multiple lines of the invoice showing up. So let's go take a look at one of them. Okay, so this would be more detailed version of the transaction. We can import it, but as is obvious here, we can also add another transaction or edit it. We bring in invoices, but from QuickBooks, but you're not limited to invoices. So if you have other types of transactions like appointments or sales orders or purchase orders, whatever you want to pay on, you can either manually enter it or you can import it from Excel files, etc. From QuickBooks, we'll only bring in invoices, but other sources you can, in Excel, there's no restriction on that. Oh, by the way, let me just make a comment that as we go through this, you'll have questions. On the right side, there's a question question box. So all your questions, you can go ahead and start asking as soon as you have it. And at the end of my session, I will take all of the questions. We have a lot of time available, so we won't stop our process until all the questions are answered. So feel free to do that. And for the specific questions, I can always go back to the particular screen and try to address that. Okay, so basically we have a transaction, and Tran ID typically is either an invoice number, a sales order number, or some unique value. This is a line number. You can see there's a customer. You can see products. We can set up territories if you're a territory-based commission. Groups are essentially things that you can define that may not be in data. For example, if you had, let's say, groupings such as new and old customers, or big and small customers, or first order versus other orders, whatever it is, the additional groupings can be created and then used in your commission calculations. And then quantity, sales amount are provided. Just like in the customer, we repeat the rep fields here. So Andy is the rep. So if your ownership or crediting changes by deal, you can put it at the deal level or invoice line level. Okay? So that allows us to say Andy gets 100% of the credit for this particular transaction. So that's what a transaction would look like. Again, you can manually enter it. You can import it from Excel. You can import QuickBooks invoices from QuickBooks. Okay, so those are the transactions. And we see we have two transactions here that are going to Andy. And we're going to make sure, and they're pencil and paper, remember the plan that these two should get paid differently. So we're going to set up a commission plan and calculate commissions for Andy. So now we have pretty much all the basic data we need. We just need to be able to calculate commissions. So commission plans, again, is the piece where you configure the rules that say this is how this person should get paid. And so we set up a plan. It can be for each and every person. I have different plans here. Andy has a standard sales commission plan. Brenda is assigned by customer, so she's a national customer manager. And then Charlie is the manager across these folks. I'll just basically show the Andy plan now. So here we're setting up Andy. This is his plan, and Andy can have any number of incentives. So we're saying we have a product commission, but he could have service commission and quarterly bonus and a number of different incentives. So you can set up multiple calculations within a plan. For product commission, we can choose to say, what am I calculating commissions on? So we're going to calculate on sales amount. And we're going to look for any transactions that have Andy's name on it. Okay? But we can have other options, such as instead of looking for Andy's name, I can look for specific customers. As long as the transaction has a specific customer, then I get credit for it, or the specific product, or specific group, or specific territory. So you have different ways of saying, if I see a transaction that satisfies this criteria, I get credit for it. So those are options. But in this case, we're keeping it simple. We're just looking for Andy's name on the transaction. That's the bulk of how most people's commission process works. Then, now that we know Andy gets credit for it, now Andy's commission rate has to apply. Saying we're going to pay commission as a % of the sales amount, and the commission rate can be changed by product. You could have set it up the same for everybody or every transaction, or you can change it by different criteria. So just like in the plan you saw earlier, we're going to change the commission rate by product. So we're going to say 5 and 6 by, for paper and pencil. That's the basic plan. In addition, we can also set up a draw. So we're going to set up a draw that says, essentially, it's a recoverable draw. It's $1,500, and it applies between this period. So basically what it says, the first 6 months, I want to make sure they get at least $1,500. So if they make less, you're going to give them the extra money, but you're going to keep it as a loan. If they make more, you're going to take it back. So that's how this draw works. You can also have a non-recoverable version. All right, so that's pretty much the plan for Andy. And that typically, as you would know, you would set it up once at the beginning of the year, and you really wouldn't be touching it that much. Now that the plan is there, your monthly process is to bring in the transactions. You would go in and say, I'm ready to calculate commissions. You'll click on the calculate button. It will take all the transactions, assign it to every plan, calculate every person's results, and then it will produce a commission statement immediately, which you can right away go to that next step. Okay, so this is the statement, and you see Andy and Brenda, everybody will have their statements. You can see all the historical periods for which we calculated commissions. You can see the output. This is Andy's statement. This is a period. These are the transactions, the 2 transactions Andy's name was on, the amount, the fact that the commission rates are different because of the product and the commission amounts. It totals $110, which shows up here. But remember, we had a $1,500 draw. The company loans the extra amount, so that the commission check ought to be $1,500. So it does everything and then produces a statement. So when you give them a check, you give them the statement or they log in, they can see their exact reason why they're getting paid that amount. Okay, that's pretty much in a nutshell how the commission process works in the system. Let me see if I can quickly show you what a salesperson's view could be. So I'm logged in as a salesperson. This may have timed out, so I may have to re-log in a minute. So the salesperson has a different type of, all of these are configurable, so what shows is different for the salesperson than for the commission administrator. As you can see, much more limited things for the salesperson. The salesperson may get a dashboard that says, hey, here are some opportunities to follow up. Here's your performance in terms of customer commissions, products, and so on. So we can set up dashboards. There are some default dashboard features available, but we can also configure them. And but really, the more important thing would be to get for the salesperson to log in and be immediately able to see their commission statement. Okay, so they go see it, and they see that, and they can also export it to Excel. So that's really the output for them. And we can limit a lot of these so that they don't see any of it except just perhaps a statement alone. So that's possible. Okay. So that basically covers the commission plan process. Now let me cover a few other things for you guys. All right. I mentioned that we have different type of plans for different people. For Brenda, for example, we could set up a commission plan where Brenda's name is not on the transaction. Instead, we're looking and saying, anytime these 2 customers are involved, Brenda gets credit for those transactions. So you can, as I described earlier, you can use different criteria to decide who gets credit for a sale. And the same transaction could already have an actual salesperson. Plus, it's giving another overlay, if you will, to Brenda, who is the national account manager. Okay, so that gives you a sense of example. Now, normally, here the commission rate is set. In this case, it's simply 4% for all sales. But perhaps your commissions are a lot more complex. In that case, we have some very advanced features called commission formula, where you can go in and put in more complex calculations. Yeah, I'll just show you one or a couple. So we can basically say, based on a cumulative amount, we're going to assign a specific commission rate. Up to $5,000, this transaction is within the $5,000, I'm going to apply 3%, 5,000, 10,000, 4%, etc. This is not comprehensive. This does have some limitations, but it does give you some flexibility in terms of setting up plans. Another example of this kind of a plan is, let's show this here. We literally can attach a very small Excel spreadsheet, exactly 5 cells, and you can put in Excel-like expressions in it to use all the numbers you see on the transaction to calculate any kind of commission. So you can have quite a bit of flexibility in here given the data you have, okay? And this little formula will be applied on every transaction for that particular person, okay? So that gives you some advanced functionality, okay? All right, so part of the calculations, if you're using QuickBooks, we can actually update accounts payable or payroll from our system. In the case of direct web connector to QuickBooks, not through the Intuit App Center piece, but in the case of direct connect, we can do that. Okay. Now let's see some of the other features. We saw the dashboards earlier. We have basically the ability to create customized statements, the ability to create reports. So we have a number of reports. I'll show you one or two of them. For example, I want to know, let's say, production by rep and period. So I could say, so this is telling me Andy in January had $2,000, for example. That's one report. I can look at, for the current period, what are the commissions for each person. So if you're not directly updating your accounts payable or payroll, you can run this report. It will tell you, here are the 3 people, here's their commissions for the period, for period 1. So you can get that report and you can pass it on to your payroll person or accounting person. And we can also create new reports fairly easily. So you can, let's say, I just take a table such as customer. So I selected customers. I want all the fields. And basically in 2 clicks, I can literally produce a report of all my customers. Okay? Here's the customer information, all their fields, etc. Okay? So again, there's some flexibility in changing this and sorting it and so on, but the report production is fairly easy here. And we have a number of other things like workflow and the user and role security, and et cetera, that we don't have time to go over today, but we'll be happy to engage with you and show it to you in more detail. Let me show you some of the other things that are possible. I mentioned about customers and leads and opportunities and so on. So we actually, transactions you saw, but we can actually use it as a very simple CRM system. Since salespeople already have access to this system and they are looking at the customers, perhaps you want them to put in their leads, then now you know what they're working on and you can manage their pipeline a little bit. So you can set up leads and then you can convert it when the lead qualifies into a customer and opportunity. So let me go show a customer record, which is where they may be spending a lot of their time. So that you can set up not only the customer information, their address, etc. You can go in and add notes. So you can, they can keep track of what's going on with the customer. I'm viewing all the notes, so you can set up all this information here. You can also have contacts for the person. You can also have opportunities, so you can manage their opportunity and say, this is the opportunity they're working with for this particular customer. What is the amount? How did we get the lead? What is the probability? What is the current stage? next step, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So this allows you a small amount of ability to use this as a contact manager or customer manager system. Okay. So those are some of, much of what we wanted to show you today. There's a little bit more, and as time goes on, we are adding features on a very regular basis, so you'll see more and more abilities being added to the system. So now that you've seen it, let me cover the other things you may want to know. Let me go back to the thing about pricing and how to get on the system, etc. So, but before we go there, I want to let you know the things that we do not do. We want to be very upfront about the things that Easy Commission is not designed to handle. Some folks have a more complex type of commission called job profitability commissions. Not only do they need the revenue, but we need all the costs, like from bills and purchase orders and so on, and we had to track it across periods. Easy Commission doesn't do that. We don't attach to QuickBooks Online today because QuickBooks Online has a number of limitations, and we're trying to work through that. We don't. This software is completely online, so it's not installable locally. Time-based commissions are where you say, if the revenue happened in the 8th month after the customer came on board, I want to pay a lesser rate, or in the second year I want to pay a lesser rate, and so on. We don't have the ability to count the time. We cannot say this is the 8th month or second year, etc. But you may be able to set up a group, say like first year, second year, etc. And if you give us a flag, then we can calculate commissions. So we just can't calculate the time gaps. Also, recurring commissions, you cannot set up something once and say, the next 12 months automatically pay this much commission every month. You always require a trigger transaction to be able to calculate commissions. If you gave us all those 12 transactions, then yeah. But if you want the system to do that, it won't do that. Some folks want to calculate commissions at the time of invoice, let's say in January, but then pay commissions at, when you get paid, which could happen in March or April. So Easy Commission won't do that. And really very complex calculations are not possible in Easy Commission. But we do have this other solution called Q Commission, which does all of these and much more. It's a much more heavier, more robust application. It's pricier, and it has a significant service component to it to get customers on board. So I just want to give you that idea. You can go look at that as well, and we're happy to make sure that one of our solutions meets your needs. Okay. So let's take a look at editions and pricing. So it's on the website. We have 2 editions. So you can just go here and click on editions and pricing. We have an economy edition and a regular edition. And the differences are pointed out right here, what is possible, what is not possible, etc. One key difference is that the regular edition allows you to integrate with QuickBooks. The economy does not. Also, a lot of security and workflow, etc., using your own logo, etc., are available in the regular edition, but not in the economy edition. Pricing is here, so you have $3.95 per license, and for us, we count all the reps that you're calculating commissions for as licenses, whether they log in or not. And so it's $3.95 per license, and it's $9.95 here. But as you grow in size, you get substantial discounts. Like after 5 licenses, you get a 10% discount. After 20 licenses, you get 20% discount. 40 licenses, you get 30% discount, etc. So it's a substantial discount that kicks in right away. And so we try to make it very affordable for folks. There will be an initial one-time facility where you get 2 hours of assistance. One of our consultants will engage with you and help you through that initial process, and that's a one-time charge of $99 or $198 depending on the application. Okay, so you can do a trial here. A 15-day trial. You can view the demos. You can actually directly sign up here and sign up for paid edition over here, and then we can help you with any assistance that you need. Okay, very good. So I think I've covered everything I want to cover, and I'm sure there are a number of questions here. I see that. I'm going to go ahead and start answering those questions for you guys. So let me do that now. Okay. Is there a way to integrate with a CRM solution, specifically Sugar CRM? There's no direct way. We don't directly connect to Sugar CRM today. The best way is, you've seen the template we provide. So just write a report in Sugar CRM that saves data down somewhat close to the template, and then you can either create a macro to bring the data into our template, or you can just do a copy paste and then import it. So that's basically the option for that. So hopefully that answers that question. We use QuickBooks Enterprise. Can I import customers and invoices? Yes. We integrate with, we use QuickBooks Web Connector and what the SDK or Software Development Kit. That accommodates a lot of different editions of QuickBooks. So Enterprise, Premier, Pro, UK, Canada, all kinds of different editions are accommodated across many different editions, by the way, 2012 backwards for quite a number of years. So we cover a lot of ground there. And since when they do a new release, they normally make sure that it works with that connector. So normally we shouldn't have to make any changes even if you upgrade. But we do test whenever they release a new version. Can a rep be paid depending on the price he sells the product? Yes. Yes, rep can be paid based on things like what price did he sell it at how much discount did he provide, what percentage discount, how much above the MRSP is this price or below MRSP. So those kind of things can be done in the system. So, as I mentioned here, you just put in a formula and you have access to the fields in the transaction, and you can say if price is greater or less, then I will pay X amount, or you will say you'll calculate the discount as a percent. If the discount is more than 10%, then I'm going to reduce the commission. So you can do this kind of expressions here. Okay, so and there are literally hundreds of such possibilities. Different discounting, tiered price rates, quantity and price combinations, lots and lots of different possibilities are there. Some of them we can definitely handle in Easy Commission. When you import QuickBooks invoices, does it also import the customer? Yes. When you import QuickBooks invoices, customer data automatically gets imported as well. Okay. There's a question, how would entries be made for reps paid hourly? That sounds like a payroll kind of thing where they're paying an hourly amount. We, of course, are not a payroll system. We don't calculate payroll taxes or withhold or none of that stuff. But if you wanted to just say, this person, based on number of hours they work, whether regular or overtime, that sort of stuff, and you want to pay at a different rate, or some variation of it, you could theoretically just go in and set up a transaction in the system, and then just type in, instead of an invoice and amount, just type in a transaction with quantity being the number of hours they work. So that's entirely possible. Okay. So reps have view access by using the email ID, but is a password also required, or can one be used? In other words, can somebody else access using the rep ID? Absolutely, a password is absolutely required. We provide that Notify actually will generate a password for the rep. Only they will know that particular piece of information. So only they will be able to log in and use their access. One other point I want to make is that, if you're using the system to actually edit data, like you're allowing the salesperson to, let's say, enter customer records, we have something called an owner field where the salesperson's email ID gets registered, so that when the salesperson logs in, he gets view access to his records only. So somebody else, some other salesperson will not be able to see this person's records. So we can limit in that fashion as well, after you log in with password. On the statement, can the transactions that commissions are being paid on and the transactions that have been billed but not paid both be shown? No, you cannot show. That was one of the things I mentioned. The things we do not do is we don't show both an unpaid and a paid. You can calculate, and that at that point it'll release and pay. In our Q commission solution, we can do that, where we calculate commission due and show it as a separate section in the statement. And then when you get paid, then you can release it. So that is not possible in Easy Commission. So how is billing handled where, say, our company is paid hourly and we get $100,000, but the rep gets only $75,000 based on an hourly rate, and we want to ensure the reps only sees a breakdown just for his payout, not what the company gets. Okay, so we have the ability in our system that commission statement that you saw can be configured and some of the fields hidden. So if you didn't want to show the sales amount on which his commission is being calculated, you can literally set up another statement copy and then calculate on that. I am not sure if it's available as part of the economy edition, but the ability definitely exists. Yeah, I guess it's available in both editions. So you could essentially just say, don't show the incoming amount, the revenue amount, just show the output, which is their calculation. So you could do that in the system. Okay? So we can customize the commission statement somewhat, not completely, but some significant amount we can do. So we'll just go to statements. Okay, hopefully that answered that question. Is Easy Commission able to generate by importing from QuickBooks when the invoice is paid, and be able to distract the discount and deducts from that invoice that is paid? So when your invoice is paid, which we can definitely get the invoice only when it's paid if that's a choice you make, will you be able to subtract the discount? We can subtract the discount if in QuickBooks you set up the discount as a invoice line, as a negative invoice line. Then that'll be treated as a negative transaction, and then it'll be a negative commission. So the net effect will be as if the discount has been taken into account. So if you use QuickBooks that way, many customers use it that way, then we can do that. Do you have local experts who can help with setup and use? So yeah, we have the 2-hour session. We don't come on site or anything like that. As you saw, it's pretty much designed to be almost self-serve, but that limited amount of help that we charge, like $99 or $198, we just get on the web with you, review it, make sure you're, ask questions about, well, how do you try to use your commissions, where's the data coming from, et cetera, and we guide you through that. Pricing, I think this may be an early question. I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's directly available on our website, and you can, at your leisure, please go ahead and review it. If you have questions, we have a number of ways of reaching us. There's you can send emails, you can ask questions, you can just click on the need help. If somebody's covering at that time, you can definitely chat with them and they can answer your questions right away. If you signed up for an account, I'm logged in, is there something to download or am I looking at my 15-day free trial? If you signed up for an account as a trial, your trial immediately starts. There's nothing to download. You just go ahead and start logging in and using it. You should have received an email with the key that allows you to activate your trial, and then you can start using that. If our system crashes, there are online backup. Yes, our data is backed up every day, so it's much more secure, probably even on local PCs and local systems. So our data is completely backed up on a regular basis. With the 15-day trial, can we try connecting to QuickBooks? Yes. With the 15-day trial, you can try connecting to QuickBooks and verify that it works. During the trial, we only have sales support, so salespeople can help answer some questions. We don't have the consultant support. If you wanted a consultant support, the best mechanism is if you feel like fairly reasonably comfortable that what you're looking for the system can do, go ahead and sign up, for the minimum possible license. You don't have to sign up, you can just, we have a quarterly or annual subscription and you can go with a very minimum license, and it will be a pretty low cost. We verify that everything works, and so you're risking very little, and you get the 2 hours of assistance, which is more value than what you're paying, and then we can help answer with actual services. And once that's done, if it doesn't work out, you don't have to renew the next quarter, basically. But if it works out, then you can expand to additional licenses. I see the examples are based on invoice, but we pay commissions on our receivables. Does your application provide this option? So invoices are receivables normally, so I'm not sure what that means. When you create an invoice, automatically in your accounts receivable, that's what it's going to show. So if you create an invoice, right away we can calculate commissions off of that. There's another part which is payment receipt, which is you receive cash. That's payment receipt. At that point, the invoice should be marked as paid invoice. We can calculate commissions off of that also. You can choose one or the other. You can say, I've created an invoice, I haven't received money, I want to pay commissions. We can do that. Or you can say, I've created an invoice, I've been paid, now I'm ready to pay commission. You could do that too. Okay, good. I'm glad that question answer is clear. Very good. So absolutely, we're happy. I'm sure you have a ton of other questions because everybody's commission plans are extremely unique. It's very hard to answer all of those things in a short session, but our salespeople are available. They can answer questions in a fairly detailed manner. If Easy Commission is not right for you, we can definitely show you Q Commission, and Q Commission may be a good fit in that case, and that information is also available on the website. So I thank you very much for attending. I am still available for further questions, but our session, the presentation is over. Please, let us know how we can help you make sure that this is the right product for you. But also, please, ask more questions if you have. How often are the webinars given? We give a webinar once a month at this time. So yeah, so if you can look at our website at the bottom right corner, you'll see the webinar schedule. So you can definitely attend at your convenience. But instead of waiting, it's probably better to just ping our salespeople, and they can give you a more personal demo if that's appropriate, and answer all your specific questions just for you and your colleagues. Sure.